In City Khan, the Mayor of London, has been, a court has ruled against him, and our thoughts and prayers are with him today because he can't stop councils from removing unpopular low traffic neighbourhoods. Maybe you've got a low traffic neighbourhood in your area, this tyranny that means that you've got to do certain things and you'll be fined if you don't do the right thing. A court has ruled a lengthy legal battle over 3 controversial schemes in East London. Let's talk to Alan Miller, who's co-founder of the Together Declaration. Alan, thank you very much indeed for joining us this morning. I find myself in the strange position of being in favour of Lufter Rahman, the Mayor of Tower Hamlets. It must be weird for you too, Alan.
Well, it's absolutely the case that I'm in favour of this. And actually, he stood on his election was primarily one of the key factors was to abolish this LTN. And in defence of him, he then did another consultation just to reinforce it democratically, a true consultation where he engaged with people, not just put it out when no one could see it and then ignore the responses like the Mayor of London did with his non-consultation. So he'd already been voted in on the basis he was going to dispense with these 3 particular low traffic neighbourhoods, which have completely clogged up the area and a really important hub. And also, as the Lufter Rahman makes the point, detrimentally impacting lots of working people. That's where the traffic gets pushed out to. That's where the most impacts occur. Also impacting people with limited mobility, older people, women at night, consequences for everyone, as we've seen. The consultation got all sorts of responses back that we've seen around the country, Peter, which is that people are furious that their ability to move around, to make decisions about how they do things at work or with family, with their cars, gets limited, restricted, fined and surveyed.
Well, what actually happens in a low traffic neighbourhood? Because there'll be a lot of people around the country who aren't really familiar with what it is. I mean, the title gives a clue, but what is it actually like to drive or operate within one of them, Alan?
It's a roadblock. They're bollards. They were brought in under lockdowns, under the term emergency traffic orders. And basically, they were never discussed. It was another unprecedented moment where the idea was that you would have bollards and cameras stopping vehicles being able to come in to the area. So you became much more pedestrianised. People said, well, why don't we cycle? So TfL's announcement is, well, we want people to be able to walk and cycle. How about you get all the trains running and get logistics sorted and get rid of the problems with air quality in the underground TfL, right? Rather than telling us we all need to cycle and walk, because many people cannot cycle and walk, not least if you're a tradesperson and you've got to have tools. And David Lammy said, get on the bus or get on the underground. Contempt for working people. What it means is that people get fined. You've got bollards. It's a bit like Checkpoint Charlie, a bit like in the old Hamlet system that you'd be charged a toll to move from one area to another.
You're not comparing it to West and East Germany, I hope.
Well, absolutely. The idea that we have these really egregious restrictions, draconian measures, Peter, right?
Yeah, but it's not the Stasi, Alan.
Well, what I would say is that if you're not able to make decisions about how you can move around in your actual area and you've responded that you do not want it, and the majority have done in many instances, and you're ignored, and you're told this is for your own good and you need to put up or shut up, then there are many similarities.
Okay,
right? Emergency traffic.
I think we'll respectfully disagree on that point. Alan, what are the legal implications here, do you think? Do you think other parts of the country will perhaps hesitate when they see this ruling and perhaps not have a low traffic neighbourhood? Because there are quite a few of them right throughout the country, not just in London, of course.
Yeah, they've happened all across the country. We've seen a lot of victories where local people from business communities and citizens have stood against them and they've been taken out. Whether that's been in Warrington and other areas in Bristol, East Bristol, we've worked with a lot of people locally, regionally, nationally to challenge and do calls to action and make sure the press are aware of it. We've seen in Oxford, they've decimated businesses. Clint Pugh has been very vocal about that, and we've done many interviews with local tradespeople there. What this means is a very particular case where this mayor who got voted in, a local mayor who got voted in, said that in his mandate this would be part of what he would do, and then did a consultation. It basically has meant legally that it's saying there won't be an appeal because some people call them gentrifiers, but some very wealthy, more middle-class people have sort of said, we want these LTNs in here. We're going to appeal this again. It's another 30,000. The judges said they won't listen to that appeal, but you know they'll have to recognise it, but they don't think it will stand, because on every basis, this does not have merit. But actually, Peter, we're saying we should not rely on the legal system. It shouldn't be up to the discretion of a judge. We should be able to assert democratically the rights of decisions. And if the majority of people want something, that's one thing. But let's have a cost-benefit analysis. Let's be honest and open. Let's engage with proper scrutiny and not have lies like we've seen with the Mayor of London, 4,000 deaths. Absolutely unfounded. Our reports demonstrate that.
Just not true. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Alan. There's been a lot of propaganda and nonsense in regard to this, especially when it comes to the air quality. And as you correctly say, if you look at the air quality on the tube in London, where this isn't just a London story, it's right across the country as well. But if you look at the air quality on the tube, for example, it's dreadful.
Yeah, and what we've seen as well is a lot of people have become so furious. So, for instance, these low emission zones as well, they're linked to the low traffic neighbourhoods. People should know there's this thing called livable streets. At Together We campaigned. The last Prime Minister said he'd have an inquiry into low traffic neighbourhoods, and we got the Department of Transport to stop funding Liverpool streets, because the whole emphasis and push was just basically to shut down our streets and get everyone walking and cycling, and people were very, very upset about it. Now, we've got green billionaires like Christopher Hone and Mike Bloomberg who are backing these initiatives. People always talk about big oil, carbon footprint, who are you in the pay of? This is what's going on. We've got these kind of, and you said it wasn't like Stasi, but you know, at least in China, you know that you're not allowed to say certain things. Here we've got a situation where there's a pretense of a democratic accountability, but actually you've got very big interest pretending that you've got these grassroots organisations like UK 100, C40 cities. They're massively funded. Big green billionaires, they influence the academy and funding and local democracy, and it's very, very problematic. And we're saying we need to shed light on it, and the public needs to have its voice heard. And actually, Britain was famous at the turn of the 19th century and the 20th century for engineering, for transportation, for being able to move around. Now we're getting put back to a bit of a kind of middle age, moved by horse, moved by foot and moved by cycle. It's just unacceptable.
Alan, thanks for your thoughts there.